Hi guys, thanks for joining me again. My name's Deb. I write under D.E. Chandler, and today I'm going to be reading again from my book Weathered. This story is a little different. It doesn't have much in the way of dialogue, but as usual, I don't want to give you too much preamble. Today I'm going to dive right in. This is called The Tree King and the Stone Girl. Once, in the very first breaths of air on earth, a stone girl was pushed up from beneath her earthen covers as Gaia shook herself to regain comfort in her great slumber. She found herself covered in only water at first, but soon many new things came and went in the water all around her. There were slimy things and scaly things, armored things and shelled things. For a time she was kept company by a colony of creatures that seemed to be partly made of stone. And she wondered at their compatibility and the way they nestled together, much like the crystals that made up her own form. They required nourishment besides the light of Solus, the sun, filtering through the sea, and the breath of Gaia, the earth, above. They would fling their filaments out to snatch the tiny things that swam past and ate them. The excess from this they used to attach themselves to the stone girl and build more dwellings for more creatures. Then slowly the water retreated and the stone girl was left alone. The sun was the only sight to keep her company, and Gaia's song was all she heard. Gaia and Solus danced many dances, and it seemed that their lonely courtship would go on for eternity, and that stone girl would have to watch, forever lonely, but never alone. Then one night, when Luna the moon was coming up to peek around Gaia's shoulder, the west wind carried some small hint of something new. A scent that drifted to her was alive like the ocean, but dry like the land. It was fresh and new and green. New creatures came to see the stone girl, and though none of them stayed, they all left her something to remember them by. The shiny winged creatures left her their leftovers from dinner. The scaly creatures came and made their nest just under her east face, and once their young hatched, they left her the eggshells and skins that they shed. By and by, though, each creature that came would leave her. She felt the changes around her. The deposits left by all of her friends over the seasons piled up somewhat, but then other creatures began coming to take bits of it away. These creatures were small. Some had jointed bodies and armor like the ocean creatures, though they seemed to be made differently. Some were long and thin with soft bodies and no eyes. They would use the bits for sustenance, the way the ocean creatures had consumed each other. They, in turn, would leave their own smaller deposits. Some days a gray veil of clouds would cover Saul's face, and Rock Girl could not see him. She worried for Gaia, though she did not feel that Gaia was afraid. Sometimes, when the clouds covered Saul's, water would fall from the sky, as if Saul were crying and soaking the gray veil through, distraught that he could not look upon his Gaia. Bathed in this water, the stone girl began to feel a stirring of life in the soil that had built up beside her. A life unfurled beside her. Then 1,000 more lives. These lives were green lives. Their roots tickled her beneath the soil where she hadn't felt a touch since the sea. Their long green limbs swayed in the air and drank in Saul's radiance. They were silent at first, but soon life emerged among the others. A new life. It grew between them all and connected them one to another. The song started one day at the return of Saul, and all of the green ones sang together. So it was until one day Saul drifted much too far away. The air grew cold and the green ones withered at the surface. They retreated deep into their roots and slept, too withered to dance and too cold to even sing. Thus it continued for many cycles. Saul, the fickle lover, would leave for a time, and then suddenly return to his beloved Gaia, and the green ones would sing, and the winged ones would fly, the scaled and now the furred ones would gambol about in her shade. Then one day Gaia grew so furious at Saul's fickle nature, she shook. She shook mightily, and the soil around her heaved. The stone girl was thrust into the air. The life between the roots of the green ones was pulled apart. Higher and higher she was raised up on the backs of what she knew must be her brothers and sisters, though being stones and freshly born she could not hear them yet. Seeing Gaia's fury, the insolent Saul returned again, and the green ones grew and sang. The life between the roots healed and grew as well. Then one day he was born. The life that she felt emerge beside her in her new sky dwelling was unlike all of the others. This life reached for her as if on instinct. At first she was afraid it would gobble her up, like the sea dwellers had snatched and eaten the swimmers by. As she was helpless to act, and went by, As she was helpless to act, and as time went by, she was surprised to learn that she was not being eaten. She was being embraced. The energy from the new life surrounded her. It sang to her and to the other lives. It grew. This life she came to know as the largest of all lives except for Gaia and Saul and Luna. This was the Tree King. In his roots he embraced the stone girl and her siblings, as well as Gaia. Among them dwelt the other green lives and life between the roots, as well as the armored and soft-bodied creatures. The furred and armored and winged ones also came to trust and live in his branches and among his leaves. Among all the songs there were, his song brought safety and a solid, droning surety. Then it happened, as it always did, that Saul grew tired of his constant ministrations to Gaia, and he pulled away yet again. Furious again, Gaia shook and spewed fire into the sky. The stone girl felt her sisters and brothers falling. They were falling from beneath her, and soon she must surely fall too. As the last stones fell from beneath her, she felt herself slip. For the first time in all the cycles she had existed, she was moved from the soil that had been her home for so long. She no longer stood on firm earth. Instead, there was only air beneath her, air where surely air should never be. She should have fallen. Surely she should have been crashing amongst her broken siblings at the bottom by now, when she realized that she was held fast by the roots of the Tree King. Several of his strong roots had wrapped around her, and even more held fast to the side of the cliff. They teetered there on the high cliff face, and he held her for many dances between Saul and Gaia, held her fast on the edge of oblivion, and they sang together for as long as the mountain stood. Whatever the inconsistencies of the relationship between Saul and Gaia, the Tree King's embrace was seasonless, his attentions constant, and their song seemed never ending. That was the Tree King and the Stone Girl. It's a bit different from most of the stories that I write, but I wanted to do something to treat the way I feel that perhaps the earth may feel. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, but to me, I strive to have a deep connection with the earth. But we won't get into that right now. It's already been way long, a lot longer than I thought it would be. So I want to let you go, and we'll talk some more about that if you want to later. But that was the Tree King and the Stone Girl, and I'll be back tomorrow with some more. Thank you. Be safe. Be well. We'll see you. Oh, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to get your notifications, because we'll be bringing you more every day. Thanks.